Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Create Your Own Reality podcast, where we share stories and practical tips to help you level up your mindset, reconnect with your purpose, and boost your confidence. If this is your first time listening to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're able to take something from this episode to turn your day from good to great. Let's get into it. This quote from Peter A. Levine says the paradox of trauma is that it has both the power to destroy and the power to transform and resurrect. And I could not relate to this more after just having took the multiple choice part of my final for my Pilates teacher certification. Man, it was 150 questions, all like multiple choice or, select all the answers that apply, that kind of vibe. Which great, you don't have to like write anything out for that part. However, I don't know like how much this used to happen to me, back in middle school or high school, but while I was taking that test, like thankfully they give you 3 hours, but I just felt like my mind went completely blank half the time, like throughout half of that, which is a little scary, right? Now, after seeing that quote, or rather seeing that quote after that test just felt so relatable because, after every handful of questions or so, there would be a couple that was just like, what the heck? Like, I genuinely don't know the answer to this question. It was one of those scenarios where I'm sure you can relate from, being in school, where it was like, okay, I may not know the right answer to this, but since it is a multiple choice, I'm just gonna, wean out the ones that I know it's absolutely not and just pick the one that seems the best. There was quite a lot of that, or not a lot, but there was quite a handful of questions where I definitely had to kind of go that route. And needless to say, that experience just really tied in with this quote for me. Now, of course, I'm not saying, I'm traumatized from having to take an exam, but more so in the sense of it was a very stressful experience. I had a lot of anxiety around it. I had heard a lot of mixed things from other people in the program. Some said it was really easy, some said it was really difficult and they struggled. So that really stressed me out because I didn't really know which side of the coin I was going to land on. And just knowing myself, that alone just made me really anxious, which of course just brought on that anxiety going into it. That being said, going back to the whole thing of, there were quite a few questions where I genuinely feel like I didn't know the answer. That really relates back to this quote being the paradox of not knowing the answer can either destroy me or give me the power to, transform and resurrect, as the quote says. At least for me, when I think about that, when I look at that, any bad situation, there's two sides of the coin, right? You can always look at the glass as half empty or as half full. Having the power to destroy just means that you're choosing to look at the thing as the glass is half empty and you can't come back from that, or you can't elevate, you can't take yourself to that next level or improve. And I don't think that's ever actually true. Unless you just completely give up on something, then you're always able to improve yourself and change whatever it is that, you're maybe not amazing at right now. And that is definitely the other side of the coin. That would be the power to transform and resurrect. And even with this example of taking this test and having some questions where I genuinely didn't know the answers, I could have looked at that and been like, wow, I don't know some of these answers. Like, I shouldn't be doing this. Or I can look at it as the way that I am choosing to, which is, okay, I didn't know some of these answers, but that just means that I have to really review some more of that material to make sure I thoroughly understand it and am able to apply it when needed. And yeah, I think that is, of course, the best way to look at everything. I, you know, when you're trying to level up and become, you know, your best self or the next version of you or anything along those lines, it can almost be like a seesaw or a teeter-totter of your mindset going back and forth because a part of you is so used to potentially seeing things as the glass is half empty. And a part of you, might tell you that that is just the default. And I really want to encourage you to access that other side, access the higher version of you, your higher self, and the version of you that sees the glass as half full. Because either way you're looking at the glass, guess what? Yes, if it's half full, the other part of it is half empty. But it's all about your perspective. It's all about the way that you choose to interpret the material in front of you. And this, of course, can go for any and every situation that is presented to you. This can apply in a work scenario if you're working on a difficult project and you feel like you don't know exactly how to proceed. If you are going through a difficult transition in life, whether that be moving, whether that be, dealing with the loss of a loved one, or even in a relationship, if you're having a really bad fight, if maybe you're going through a divorce or something like that, all of those things are, very detrimental and life changing and, you know, maybe could be traumatic, of course, depending on the situation. But I really just want to, again, encourage you to act as the highest version of yourself when presented with situations like that. Because the only way you are truly going to move into that higher version of yourself is by acting that way. Because you can think about it and you can dream about it as much as you want. If you're not taking the actions and doing the things that will actually get you into that position that you're dreaming of, it's never going to happen. Trust me, it's something that I've struggled with for a long time. Something, of course, again, I'm human, I'm not perfect. Something I still struggle with on a daily basis sometimes. Just knowing that we have the power over our own mind to choose whichever perspective it is extremely powerful. At the end of the day, I just want you to remember you have the power to let the thing destroy you or to transform you. So, which one is it going to be? Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked this episode, please be sure to leave a review and share it with a friend. Comment down below to share your takeaways with others and join the email list from the link in the show notes. Until next time, stay motivated, be inspired, and don't forget to encourage others.